My dear friend, when did you start to perceive and realize your existence? Realize that you as a being exist in the world. My dear friend, I know I'm a tiny being in this infinite universe. So I guess this is why I'm always searching the boundary between me and the world. I think that is the way I'm trying to not be swallowed by the world. My dear friend, there is not such a singular self, but multiple selves. The selves, they are flowing, transforming, integrating. So, my friend, in this sense, ourselves is a universe. BP 300, a letter from planet B. My dear friend, when you say the big blue, why you cry so badly? Blue, the color of utopia. My dear friend, do you have nostalgia? Do you remember how many years we have left our original planet? Did we want to leave our hometown? Or we have to? Or we were exiled from our hometown? Or, my friend, there does exist this kind of a supreme power, like a giant wave in the universe, and we were just a tiny particle, overwhelmed by it. My dear friend, why do human beings and many other civilizations create language? Why we need it? I remember in our original planet, we don't have language. Also, we don't need it because our minds are connected with each other. We call it connective brain. My dear friend, who am I? I think no one needs to ask this question to the connective brain in our planet, because in connective mind, I am you, I am her, he, us, them. My family is me, my race is me, my nation is me, my planet is me. My dear friend, on our original planet, people have such a deep connection with their body and mind. But my friend, does love exist in that deep connection?
A letter to the Jingxiao in BC 2007. In China, Sichuan, Xuyong. My dear friend, what does the feeling of I just don't feel right about myself mean? Red. What is the meaning of the color for us? My friend, time went back to 2007. That was the time we moved from Xuyong, a humble, isolated, small city, to Chongqing, a big city, which was developing as a metropolitan city. 13 years ago, we were thinking the ambivalent affection we had was the mixture of excitement and nostalgia. On one hand, we felt excited that we had finally escaped the small town that trapped us. On the other hand, we feel sentimental by leaving the people and the land we love. However, my friend, from my point of view now, we have been carrying on the ambivalent feelings since we left our hometown. It is much more complex and intersectional than we thought. I think the term toxic shame from psychologist Alan Down can be used to articulate the ambivalent feeling we have had these years. As I remember, the sense of toxic shame started at 14 years old when we found out that we can actually be attracted to both girls and boys. However, nobody told us what that means as a male body attracted another male body. Then we started to search for the language to interpret it and understand it. The first time we come to know the term homosexuality in Chinese was from a psychological book named Mental Doctor, published in 2003 by Chongqing University Press. From my point of view now, some of the content of the book is problematic. On one hand, the editor of the book contributes the information that homosexuality in China is no longer seen as a mental disease since 2001. On the other hand, this book offered a few psychotherapy cases of Chinese non-heterosexual men who are seeking so-called aversive therapy to cure their homosexual preference, which I think might mislead the readers to think homosexuality is actually a disease. My friend, when we were teenagers, I remember homosexuality always related to some other insulting words towards boys, like sissy boy, like freak, lady boy. I think these words are like a linguistic cage, trapping us in the toxic shame. So, my friend, in this sense, language matters. It shapes ourselves, shaped how we perceive ourselves and the world. However, my friend, actually there are many more layers of the toxic shame, which are hidden in other version of our multiple selves. Maybe, my friend, through an intersectional lens, we might understand it better. My friend, family, politic, subject. Like I said, I never see this image in person, but in somehow it's just in my mind. Sorry to interrupt, so we'll continue our letter. My friend, in Chinese culture, we don't have any religion that is directly against homosexuality. But in pre-modern Chinese society, our family is like our religion. Parents were like our gods. There is a saying from Confucianism, which is, there are three things which are unfilial, and to have no prosperity is the greatest of them. So the problem for most Chinese non-heterosexual men is that they cannot fulfill their reproductive duty for their family, which is a shame. My friend, our parents' generation was born in a time when their body and subjectivity were oppressed. I think the meaning of their life was constructed of family, connectivity, communism, chairman Mao, and country. I think for my parents' generation, they don't have ownership of their own body, but instead, their family and country own them. One of the greatest advocacy I have ever heard was from my mom. She said, all I have done is for this family and for you. Yes, it is a type of great love, but it's also a burden. My friend, now I finally understand what does the color red mean. Red is the symbol of family and the blood connection, kinship. I think modernization, urbanization, and globalization of China separated me from my family, even my country physically. But mentally, there are still thousands of intangible thin red lines connect our body and mind to them, which is where the shame comes from. My dear friend, we spent our whole teenager time trying to deny and escape the sense of shame. We become a nomadic person in the modern concrete jungle. We were taking it as granted. However, after many years, my friend, I finally realized that actually the nomadic lifestyle is not just our own choice based on our own free will, but something bigger underlying it, some bigger power underlying it and manipulate it. 1979, the opening and revolution policy of China reshaped the whole country. Capitalism, urbanization, globalization. Sorry, again. Sorry, my friend. My mind being interrupted again. I don't know why. This melody just jumped to my mind. Well, this is a song. Was very popular in last century 18th in China. It's named the entering era of time. It's a sound to show the appreciation and admiring of its leader and shall be. It makes the historical position of reopening and revolution in China, which totally reshaped our generation. Sorry, my friend, my mind being interrupted again. As you know, sometimes our mind just weird and mysterious, or I can say it's a little bit out of our control. Okay, sorry, where did I mention? Oh yeah, 1977, the reopening and the revolution policy of China reshaped the whole country. Capitalism, urbanization, globalization, individualism, I think this term could be applied for this country that started at that historical time. My dear friend, I think this letter is our first step in practicing self-loving. I think understanding our sense of shame make it possible to accept ourselves and love ourselves. I think our conversation will never end. It's going to be continued. So, my friend, my dear friend, I think I will see you and talk with you soon. Your dear, loving Jing Xiao, 6th June, the Netherlands, Utrecht,